Hello students, welcome to AIMS India online classes. This is a chemist session. Here we are discussing about the chapter water. It's too little to waste, isn't it? So in this session we are going to see about water cycle, the conversion of water from one form to another form by the nature effects that we call water cycle. So about this we are going to see in this session. Okay, let us start this. Water is available in all the three states of matter. Yes, it is the only, actually we can say it is the only substance which is available in three states of matter at normal temperatures on the earth. Isn't it? If you see an iron object, it will be in the solid state normal temperatures. If it is heated to very high temperature, then only it comes into liquid state. If we take some other substance like oxygen, it will be in the gaseous state at normal temperatures. It won't be in the other liquid or solid states until and unless it is cooled to very low temperatures. But the only substance which can exist in three states even at normal temperatures is the water, isn't it? Ice is a solid state of water, and water is a liquid state as we know. And water vapor is the gaseous state in which water is available to us. So, in this way, water can exist in the three states of matter. The water on the earth keeps on changing in all the three states of in a cyclic process. So it converts into solid state to liquid to gaseous state. In this way, this water will be converting from one form to another form continuously in the cyclic process. This cyclic process of conversion of water from one form to another form by the nature is called water cycle. The water cycle helps in keeping the amount of water on the earth as constant. Yes, because of this water cyclic process only, the water is being maintained in all the forms at accurate or at constant rate. Okay. Now let us see what is this water cycle and what processes are involved in this water cycle. We are telling water is converting from one form to another form in this water cycle process. What are those different processes occurring in the water cycle? Let us see here. So following are the main steps of water cycle in nature. Yes, it is very interesting thing. We are not doing anything in this water cycle. This is the process which is occurring because of the changes in the nature. It is occurring naturally. So what are the different steps in this water cycle we are going to see here? One of among them is evaporation. Water from the surface of the earth keeps on evaporating and turns into vapor. The water vapor also comes from the green plants through the transpiration. Yes, so this is one of the process involved in the water cycle. What is evaporation? What is meant by evaporation? The conversion of a liquid into gaseous state is called evaporation. So here water from the surface of the earth from different water bodies like lakes, rivers, ponds, oceans, from this all it will be continuously converting into gaseous form, that is into vapor form, that we call as evaporation. And not only from the water bodies on the earth surface, water also comes into the water vapor form from the plants also. The excess amount of water taken by the plants will be released into the atmosphere through their leaves. That process we call as transpiration. So by the transpiration and evaporation, water comes into the atmosphere as water vapor. Okay. One more process is condensation. What is meant by condensation? The process of conversion of a gaseous substance into liquid form is called condensation. So the water vapor so entered into the atmosphere by the evaporation and transpiration slowly condenses to form small droplets of water which all together forms a clouds. So by the condensation process, this water vapor converts into clouds form. Okay, next process is precipitation. So in the condensation process, water vapor converts into clouds. Now, when these clouds passing in the air, when they touch a cooler lands, there they start precipitating. Water from the clouds falls on the land in the form of precipitation. At higher altitudes, the condensed water from the clouds also falls in the form of ice. Yes, so by the condensation process, water vapor converted into clouds form. These clouds they won't stay at one place, isn't it? They'll be moving on. When they touches the cooler areas, cooler air, immediately these small droplets of water accumulate together and forms bigger droplets of water. So these droplets they cannot survive further in the air. So they comes down. That is called precipitation. Coming down of this water from the air, from the clouds to earth is called precipitation. So that we are also calling as rain, isn't it? So from the clouds, water comes down to the earth's surface in the form of precipitation. Even at higher altitudes, sometimes these water droplets suddenly converts into solid form also as small pieces of ice that we call as snow or hailstones, isn't it? So those also will reach the earth's surface along with the rain. Okay, this is a precipitation. First evaporation and then condensation. After that, precipitation. Next, collection or recharge. The rainwater falls on the ground and runs off into the nearest water bodies like lakes or streams or rivers. Some of this water seeps into the ground to recharge the groundwater. So what happens when it rains? The water slowly passes into the streams. Those streams reaches the lakes or rivers, and finally it reaches the oceans. In this way, the rainwater slowly reaches the water bodies on the earth's surface. And some of the water, while passing that way, they sink into the earth's surface and reaches the groundwater. Rest of the water goes to the ocean via rivers. So from these all streams and rivers, finally water reaches the oceans. So most of the water reaches the oceans, and some water will sink, seeps into the ground and recharges the groundwater. Okay. So in this way, again from the water bodies like oceans and rivers, this will start converting evaporation, again condensation, and then precipitation, collection, recharge. So it will be continuously done here. See here it is shown overall process in the water cycle. First water from the water bodies it evaporates, and the transpiration also gives water vapor. So this water vapor cools and converts into clouds. These clouds are moving when they touches the cooler areas air, then they starts precipitating and forms rains. Again, this rainwater reaches the water bodies in the form of streams and dissolve, and some water will sink into the ground and to recharge the groundwater. Again, it starts evaporating. So it will be a continuous process. So it is that's why it is called water cycle. So the conversion of water from one form to another form continuously by the nature is called water cycle. The reasons for this scarcity of water. So even though this water cycle is being continuously done, nowadays many people they're facing scarcity of water. Why it is so? Let us see here. Pattern of rainfall. The rainfall occurs mainly in rainy season. Therefore, there is scarcity of water in other seasons like summer, isn't it? In many areas, even cities also, in the rainy season, there will be no problem of water because in the rainy season only most of the rains occurs, so that groundwater will be recharged, and even these rivers and ponds also will be full of water. But when come to summer season, there will be no rain and usage of water will be more, so that groundwater level will be decreased and there will be scarcity of water. Even these ponds and lakes also will be completely dried off. So there will be no water for usage. So scarcity of water occurs in this summer season. One more cause for the scarcity of water is loss of water. That is, all the rainwater that falls on the ground cannot be utilized and is lost due to evaporation and runs off the land into streams, isn't it? So when it rains, lot amount of water comes onto the earth's surface, but this complete water is being sink into the soil, seeps into the soil. No, very small quantity of water is being seeps into the soil, and it recharges the groundwater water table. But most of the water it passes away through the streams and reaches the oceans and dissolve. So it is not being used much amount. Only small quantity is being collected into the groundwater and the lakes and dissolve. Most of the water it reaches the oceans again through these streams and canals. So in this way, most of the rainwater is being lost. Very few amount is being utilized. This is one reason we can say. One more, overusage of water. It is also one of the important aspect or reason for the scarcity of water. Overuse of water is another reason for its scarcity. Suppose, see here, she is watering her plants. So that can be done just by pouring small amount of water at their roots, isn't it? But continuously, if the water is flown like this, most of the water will be wasted there. This we can say as over usage of water. By this also, we are facing scarcity of water, isn't it? Yes. One more important thing is pollution. Pollution of water bodies is one of the main cause of scarcity of water. So, in many chemical laboratories, what they do nowadays, they're leaving these harmful waste of chemicals into these water bodies like lakes and rivers. So that chemical waste polluting this water. So that water cannot be used for our domestic purposes or for industrial usage because it is polluted there because of chemicals. So in that way also scarcity of water we are facing. One more very important aspect or reason for the scarcity of water is deforestation. Deforestation means cutting down of trees in the large amount. Okay, deforestation of hill slopes and other areas leads to the excessive runoff of water. So actually, if there are many trees, they can stop the flow of water and they will allow this water to sink into the soil, and this water seeps inside the layers of the earth and it recharges the groundwater. In that way, forests not only giving a fresh air to us, they also help us to recharge the groundwater. When it rains heavily, that rainwater instead of flowing away because of these trees and plants, it will be stopped and it will be sinking into the soil, and hence it recharges the ground. But because of deforestation, what is happening? No trees or plants to stop this flow of water when it rains. So immediately after raining, this water will flow off and it will run off into the water bodies like oceans and seas. It cannot be used further there, isn't it? It won't recharge the ground. So in this way also we are facing scarcity of water because of deforestation. What is meant by deforestation? Cutting down of trees. A big number. So what is water table? Groundwater is a most important source of water for us, isn't it? We are telling when it rains, water seeps into the layers of the earth and it will settle at the bottom, isn't it? That we call as groundwater that we collect from the ground by different manners like digging wells and bore wells and motor pumps. By this all, we recollect this groundwater from the earth surface. So we can say this groundwater is the most important source of water for us, isn't it? So the water is stored under the ground between the layers of rock. See, when it rains, water from the different areas reaches these water bodies like lakes and rivers. From there, some amount of water seeps into the soil and it will be settled between the layers of rock because it cannot further sink into the rocks there. It will settle down there. The upper limit of this groundwater at a place is called water table. So and when it is sink into the soil, it reaches the rocky layer, there it settles down. So in that the upper layers of this groundwater is called water table at that place. Water table is usually higher in the plains, but it is very low in plateaus. This is the reason it is easier to install a hand pump in the northern plains, because in the plains water table will be much higher. By digging small holes and only to the small depth only we can collect groundwater. On the other hand, it takes a heavy drilling machine to install a tube well in the plateaus, because in plateaus water will be at very deep into the soil. So to collect the groundwater there, it needs heavy drilling machine to install a tube well. Sometimes groundwater accumulates between the layers of the hard rock. This is known as aquifer. So water in aquifer can be drawn with the tube wells and hand pumps. So what is happening? So when this water from the water bodies and from the streams, when it seeps into the soil, it will be accumulated between the rocky layers, hard rock layers, which cannot sink further. So this hard rock, the water accumulated between the rocky layers is called aquifer. From this aquifer, water can be collected by digging holes like wells and by using hand pumps like this. It can be collected here. You know, more fresh water is stored under the ground in aquifers than on the earth's surface. So the water which is accumulated between the layers of the rocks will be more fresh enough than the water present on the earth's surface, that is surface water. Than the surface water, aquifer water is more fresh because it is being filtered between the rocky layers. So, depletion of water layer. We told what is water layer here. But nowadays, much water is not being present under the layers of the earth, that we call as depletion of water layer, water table. Due to growing human population, there is an increased demand for potable water. What is this potable water? The water which is suitable for consumption of living things or like human beings, simply to say. That is called potable water. The water which is suitable for drinking is called potable water. Nowadays, what's happening? Population being gradually increasing drastically, and hence it is increased here demand for the potable water. There is more need for drinking water and also for water for the other purposes like irrigation, economic activities, and for recreation. For this all, more water is being used nowadays because population is increased. The supply of water either remains the same or has decreased. So what happened here? The demand for the potable water is increased because of population. Because as people increased, they use more water for drinking and for other purposes. Water is needed more. But in fact, the water supply is being remained the same, and even it is decreased also because groundwater level is being decreased and more trees are being cut because of the deforestation. No rains are occurring, so no rainfall means no water supply. So water supply even fair it is being decreased, either it remains in certain places same or in many places it is being decreased, but demand has been continuously increasing. This mismatch in supply and demand is resulting in the depletion of water table. As there are no rains, what they're doing, they will try to collect the water from the ground. So more groundwater is collected out by digging more bore wells and dissolve. In this way, the water in the water table is decreased gradually. This we call as depletion of water table, and most of the places are facing acute shortage of water because of this. Why? Because more bore wells are dug and more groundwater is being collected out, but there is no much water seeping into the ground again. There is no recharge again because less rains are occurring due to deforestation and pollution. So this all resulting in the depletion of water table. So this causes again further drought, isn't it? Growing population also means more construction of houses and paka roads, concrete roads. This has created an impervious layer of concrete above the ground at most of the places, isn't it? If we see nowadays villages and cities, mostly they're constructing concrete roads and coal tar roads. So what's happening because of this construction of buildings and concrete roads? They're creating an impervious layer of concrete on the ground. So because of this, what happens when it rains? No water can seeps into the soil because of this concrete layer. Water just flows from that area to another places, to the lower places. So finally, it reaches the oceans and rivers. But there is no chance for seeping water into the soil. If water seeps or sinks into the soil, then it can recharge the water table and groundwater levels increases. But because of these constructions like roads and buildings, so they're creating a concrete layer which do not allow this rainwater to seep into the soil, and hence groundwater is being decreased, and even we can say water table is depleted. Okay. And one more, forests have been cut to clear the land for meeting the demand of a growing population. So as population is being increased for constructing houses and buildings and this all, what they're doing nowadays, they're cutting down of these all forests. They're clearing these all forests and they're constructing buildings there also. So trees make the rocks pervious to water and thus facilitates recharge of underground aquifer. So actually, these trees not only giving us fresh air, they also do one more favor to us. That is, when it rains, they stop this water from flowing away and they will allow this water to seep into the ground, and hence they recharge the water table or underground water. But reduced forest cover has also hampered the natural recharge of underground aquifers. So as there are no many trees, most of the water, instead of sinking into the soil, it just flow away and reaches the water bodies like oceans and dissolve. This is also one reason for depletion of water table. Okay, so from this all we can understand water is very precious. Every drop of water counts. So we have to conserve the water. We should not waste the water. We have to use the water wisely. Should not waste it all. Okay, should not cut many trees. We should not affect the water cycle. It should be continuously done so that we will get water for our usage. So conserve water. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our YouTube channel aims today and visit our website aimstoday.in for latest updates and recorded videos.